Oh, what's up? Let me turn this on. Give me a second. Oh, what's up, familia? Welcome inside the pad. Hope you guys are doing good. Keep in between the lines. Got your load secure. Sorry, I'm a little bit late. I'm supposed to be getting Sharon Rocha on here, but man, I can't get in contact with her. I spoke with her earlier today, so I hope everything is all right. What's up, party familia? Stepping in. I'm going to Chinese food. She's saying, "Got you, Pastor." Okay, and you know what, Pastor? Like I sent you a few texts, and it's just stuck on sending. We'll be on right now. Okay, there's Pastor David. What's up, OG Gordo? How you doing, homie? Just right here, man. Just right here, doing my thing, dog. So, looks like we are gonna have Sharon on. Go ahead and talk about this topic that I said in the beginning of the year that we will continue to talk about this at least once a month for the rest of the year. Pastor Rocha, why haven't you don't Bible study on Wednesday? You know what? Pastor Rocha was he was away. He was out in Texas. He was gone for about 2 weeks. So the Bible study, Wednesday Bible studies, he wasn't able to do. Let's see. Pastor, what's up, Joker? I'll just say what's up to you guys, man, till Sharon jumps on. She should be jumping on here shortly. Good. Yes. All right, Gordo. You know what? It's good to see your jefito, dog, up and moving around, Holmes. What's up, Nay Love? I just did Wednesday. Yeah, you just did it this past Wednesday, but I think he was gone for like about 2 weeks. It's on my channel. Let's see, okay, I'll watch it tonight. Thank you. Yeah, yeah, he did it this past Wednesday, but I think for like the 2 weeks before that, he had not done a Bible study just because he was out, man. He was out planting seeds in other places. Hope everyone's having a good afternoon, evening, wherever you guys are watching this. We're just waiting on Sharon to jump on here to cover this subject. I had actually had somebody on somebody that was going to come on, and they told me a few days ago that they're not ready to talk about it. So, it's all good, man. It's no pressure, dog. I'm not gonna, try to twist anybody's arm and say like, no, come on, you got to talk about it. You got to talk about it. I will say, the more we do talk about this, the more free everybody else will feel to talk about it and not keep it so quiet. We already know that a lot of this stuff happens with family members, people close to us, and it could be that this person's family member is probably still around. So, I'm not gonna go and bend this guy's finger backwards trying to get him on here, man. Hey, whenever you're ready, you're ready. It's all good. Let's see, okay, I'll watch you. Watch from New Jersey. Can't stop, won't stop. All the way from New Jersey, the East Coast. That's what I'm talking about. Gordo, roll call state to state. Yeah, man. Yeah, it's good to see him up and moving, man. Let's see. Okay. We got you, Pastor. Let's see. Let's go ahead and bring you in. Uh, hang on. Looks like Sharon is setting up. Okay. Here we go, Sharon. Bringing you in. Right. Oh, man. Come on, mouse. Move around. Okay, here we go. Everybody, let's welcome in the one, the only, Sharon Rocha. Sharon,
Hi,
how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, 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 really good. You guys have been really, really busy.
Very busy. Very busy. Good to see you guys.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. Let me give a shout out to everybody in here. Um, Artie Familia,
Oh my gosh.
OG Gordo's in here. Can't stop, won't stop. Joker, Nate Love. What's going on, girlfriend? Yeah, shouts to everybody in here. Yeah, Sharon, man, you guys just don't stop, do you?
I
You guys are
know.
going and going and going.
I feel
And
like today I actually rested a little bit today.
yeah, well, instead of a
Hmm.
devotional this morning, I woke up to you guys eating dinner at some spot that you said that there's a bunch of food trucks all over the place and everything.
I know. We need to take you there.
What was the best taco? I think you said you had a fish taco, shrimp taco, and I forgot. You had like three tacos, different
Yeah,
meat.
I had three little tacos. It was too late, and I think an asada. We don't
Yeah.
eat that late usually, but we had some young people with us yesterday, and it was really really nice. We had a young man who was staying at the gospel mission with us, and it was really really nice to have this young man with us. So we had a good chance to talk to him and get to know him. Bright young man. Yeah.
Yeah, I heard that little story where there was this young gentleman that you guys didn't know who he was. He'd just show up and he'd take off to the
No, this
city.
is a different
Oh,
one.
this is a different one. Okay.
Yeah, it's another young man, 25-year-old young boy. Man, going through some tough times, but he's a blessing.
Mhm.
Smart, smart, loves history, just like Pastor, loves history, but blew us away with all the wisdom that this young man has. But unfortunate situation, but we were just really blessed to get to know him. And I think that it was meant for us to just be out there and spend some time with him and get to know him. But he's been showing up and he walks to the church and he just hangs out there. And I really, really loved spending time with him.
Awesome, awesome. Is it? It's a
Yeah.
long walk to the church, right? That he
It's
has.
about it's about an hour and
Uh,
15 minutes, huh, babe? Yeah,
yeah,
about an hour and 15 minutes.
yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, wow, crazy. Well, people are telling you hello, Nate Love,
Hey guys.
Nico, Joker. They're all saying hi, Sharon. Hello,
Hey
Sharon.
guys. How are you guys?
So,
I
Sharon,
know
let me.
my eyes are super bad, guys, and this phone is so tiny. So if I don't say hello, forgive me, but I'll chime in to the best that I can.
Sharon, I want to thank you for coming on. For those that don't know, Sharon is actually the first person that I had on to talk about this, and this was actually last year.
Yeah,
Um, it was only this year that I made the proclamation that I said, "Hey, you know what? Well, at least once a month for this whole year, I'm going to talk about this subject." But before that, I had spoken with Sharon. It was pre-recorded. We weren't live. It was pre-recorded, and you were the first one, Sharon, that I spoke to about this on this channel. So you're the
wow.
OG. Yeah, you're the.
I'm so glad. I never knew that you made that commitment that you were going to do that, though. You know that?
mm, Yeah,
I didn't know you were going to do that.
I didn't know either. It just kind of dawned on me in the beginning of the year, um, when a couple of people had got at me saying like, "Hey, you know what? I heard your story. It happened to me too, and I
I'm
got
not
more and more
censored. I
stories."
mean,
And I opened up to them. I said, "Hey, well, you know what? If you ever want to tell your story, man, let me know." And not right away, but a few people said yes, and I'm like, you know, instead of just bombarding it and saying like, okay, you know what, let me every week let me do it. I want to stretch it out. I want to stretch it out and keep reminding that this is happening. this does happen. So with you, Sharon, it was before this year. So but I
Okay.
thank you so much for coming on. And
Well, thank you for bringing me back on. I appreciate it.
yeah,
I think it's a very, I think it's a very, very important topic that a lot of people, I think a lot of people don't like to talk about.
right, right. And not to get into the whole story, because I will leave the link when I first talk to you. I'll leave it in the comment section. But just to give just a quick little brief, can you just share a little bit of your story?
Yeah. Well, I went through molestation from the ages of 9 to 12 by my own father, my blood father. Um, and even further back, I there was times even in my life when I went through visions and everything of things happening when I was even younger than that. Um, and then after that, I became a very promiscuous at a very, very young age and went through rapes. I went through rapes and a lot of abuse from a very, very young age because of the after effects from being molested from the ages of 9 to 12. And there's a lot that leads from molestation and going through sexual abuse. And the after effects that happens after molestations. You know, People think that once the molestation happens that it's over. It's not. There's so much that comes after. It doesn't end. It doesn't end. I think that so much happens after the abuse ends, actually, and it just continues. It's almost like a domino effect in your life. Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of give this analogy. If you get a car and somebody starts hitting it or keying it with a hammer, right? It's like, man, who's doing this to my car? Every morning I wake up, there's another dent, bad and keyed, and it's happening, and the car is all jacked up now. And then finally they catch the person who did it, and it's like, okay, cool, we got him. He's not gonna touch your car anymore. Let's lock him up. It's like, okay, cool, but my car's still all jacked up.
Yeah.
My car is still all messed up. My car needs a lot of repairs now to be what it once was, if it can ever be that. Now we got to poke holes in it. Now we got to use La Bondo. Now this car is all messed up now.
It's a
Just,
salvage title.
yeah, not now, just because you caught the person that's doing this to my vehicle, and this person is no longer going to do this to my vehicle, the vehicle is still messed up. And not only that, but now that it looks all beat up, now somebody else might just look at it and say, like, that's a old piece of junk. Let me just throw a rock at it or break a window. Like, who's going to care? So,
Yeah.
I kind of use that analogy and say, like, there's a lot of repair that needs to go on. And it's unfortunate that a lot of people don't seek that help. And yeah, a lot of them end up spiraling out of control. They don't respect their bodies. Male and female, that goes with males too. I've shared my story and said, like, hey, listen, just because you're a guy and you're out there sleeping around and womanizing and everything, like, oh, yeah, that's right, homie. No, it's not cool, though. It's not cool, man. I don't want my sons doing that. That's not, that's not the way to live. That's not the way to go. That you're seeking that, and it when you realize that it's all just emptiness, you're not finding any real happiness in all that.
There's
That's
there's
why,
a void. There's a
yeah.
void that's left to be filled. It's crazy is that I think after that, I think for me, I as a little girl, I feel that I used to actually blame my father. It's like, he stole something from me. It was something, I used to always, as a grown up, I used to tell him, you stole something so precious from me. And it was my self-worth. I kind of grew up always feeling unworthy of anything good. Um, and every single time that I had somebody who would come along that, was of any worth or anything, I almost was self-sabotage it
Mm.
because I felt like I wasn't worthy enough for that person. So I would kind of self-sabotage it. And I just kind of felt like, and I would always choose people that were not good enough for me or something. And because I felt like that's the best that I could get, it's like my life was always like that. I would always end up with men that would, hurt me or beat me or something like that, because it was, I felt like that's what I deserved, and that's the best that I could get. And that was my life for a very, very long time. And even when I did get raped, the three times that I got raped, I almost felt like I never even spoke up. I never even said anything about it, because I just felt like, what did I do to deserve it? I deserved it.
Mm.
And, I never even reported it or spoke up about it because I felt like maybe I did something to deserve that. And, it's like you live this life of always constantly feeling like you're worthless, or you feel shameful of things because of the things that you went through.
Sharon, since the last time you and I spoke about this, a couple of things have happened in my life, right? First of all, let me just go ahead and give a nice big shout out to one, Mr. Pastor David Rocha. Gracias, Pastor. Valerie, highly appreciate it. And by the way, all this right here, I said it when I had Brother Eli on. I really want to find somewhere where I could donate this money that comes in. Definitely don't want to hold on to this. I definitely want to find somewhere. I tried with Stop the Silence, but I'm having a hard time getting in contact with somebody over there. But if somebody could give me any good suggestions that deal with this, with child molestation, I'm all ears. Thecholotrucker at yahoo.com. Um, a couple of updates, Sharon. Since Ruben C, my bad. Yeah, gracias, brother. A couple of updates, Sharon. I've shared my story, and I said I had never spoken to my mom about it, and till that day, we never talked. We never talked about it, like if it never happened, right? Um, Gosh, if you guys are watching this live, it was earlier this year. I March maybe in the month of March, she calls me. I'm at work. She calls me and she says, "Hey, do you have a minute or two?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I got a minute or two, and I'm doing paperwork." Um, Praise mighty one, gracias. I appreciate that. Um, I'm like, yeah, I got a minute or two. I'm doing some paperwork in the truck, and she says that my sister-in-law told her, "Hey, do you see when your son does these videos and he talks to a pastor and stuff like that?" And she's all like, "No, no." She's all like, "Oh yeah, they talk and gives them some good advice and everything." And she's all like, "Oh, okay." So she went and started searching around my channel, and she saw one where I shared my story of being molested when I was a kid. And she calls me. Well, we're on the phone, and she starts crying. She just breaks down in tears, and she's just like, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I know it happened a long time ago, but I feel like it just happened right now." And she just felt so guilty and everything. And I felt bad for her. Yeah, I wanted to tell her, like, "Ma, I'm okay. You know, I'm okay. I'm not angry anymore. I'm good, Ma. I'm good. It's beneath my feet. Um, it's something I believe that everybody's gonna live with for the rest of their lives. I do believe that. But I wanted to let her know, Ma, I'm okay." And she told me, "Hey, I should have paid more attention to you guys. I should have done this. I should have done that." And while a lot of that may be true, we can't go back in time anymore. And so that's one thing, Sharon, because I remember I told you, till this day I never spoke to my mom about it. Well, now we did. Now we did. That's one thing. Another thing is that a few weeks ago, well, over a month ago now, my niece, my 17-year-old niece, passed away. She and shout out to everybody in the chat. I apologize. I'll check you guys out right now in a second. My niece passed away. She overdosed on fentanyl, and I come to find out after she had passed away that she was molested when she was a little girl, and she just started destroying herself, and nobody really knew why. Um, she didn't have like a really good home to grow up in, but it's I wish I would have known. Um, but she's gone now, and that's something that I probably could have talked to her about. She had opened up to a pastor once that happened to her. And by the way, for everybody watching, I've told this story already. Um, Everything went down. The law got involved. The person got incarcerated. So everything went down legally the way it was supposed to. But with her, she was still messed up, and she ended up um, overdosing to fentanyl. And I was able to kind of see like, man, she's going down the wrong path. But I didn't think that. I just kind of thought like, hey, you know what? She's got a rough life because the home that she's at is not that great of a place to grow up. But she, I don't think she took her own life like that. But she was definitely destroying her life, and that happens a lot, Sharon.
You know, I think that hits home for me, because you know, I've never really, I've never really publicly has spoken about this. I have spoken about it, to family and close friends. But my niece as well, or not my niece, I'm so sorry, my cousin,
Hmm.
because she was so younger than me, I called her my niece, but my cousin, she passed away at 18. And I was I was always busy at church, and my dad would always be at her house. And one day I walked in, and I happened to see him there, and he covered himself so fast, and it scared me. It scared me because I knew what he had done to me, and I remembered that I walked out of there so fast, and I never said anything, you know, and I remember he left the country after that. And years after, um, she was going through a lot of emotional stuff. And I didn't know how to tell anybody what had been going on. I was still kind of young. I was in my early 20s around this time, or mid 20s. And I remember my mom calling me, telling me, you need to talk to your cousin. You need to talk to her. She's going through some stuff. She's going through some stuff. And I would always tell her, I'm going to talk to her. I'm going to talk to her. And time passed, and time passed. And she was becoming very, she was just changing. And I never went to talk to her.
Hmm.
And she tried walking on the freeway one day. And my mom told me, you need to go talk to her. And I ended up getting the phone call one day, and it was too late. She had already hung herself.
Oh wow.
And I remember that day when I ran and ran. It felt like the longest run because they wouldn't let anybody go through. And I just threw myself to my knees because I remember my mom telling me, you were supposed to talk to her. She wanted to talk to you, needed to be there. And I blamed myself for a very, very long time because I felt like she needed to tell me something. And
Right.
my dad passed away. My dad passed away literally a month or two after that. And I lived with that guilt for a very, very long time
Mhm.
because I didn't know if he had did something to her or not,
Right.
you know, but in my heart, in my gut, I felt like he did because of what I had seen years prior to that. And because I knew what a monster he was.
Yeah. Yeah. The first person that did it to me, like I said, they were young themselves. I don't know. I was about like 4 years old, 5 years old, and I don't know how some teenager. I don't know, and never got caught. So it's like, wow, that young person was able to possibly do this to many, many more. I don't know the whole story, where what happened to him or what have you, and it's kind of the thing where it's like, hey, you know what, man, don't nobody really wants to talk about it, right? I'm I'm glad today I can talk about it just like I'm having a conversation.
Yeah,
I,
absolutely.
I feel so blessed today that I didn't destroy myself, and I mean, I destroyed in so many ways in life, but that that I'm at where I'm at today, because it is a demon that just is in you and just starts destroying you. And some people destroy themselves all the way even to the old age, and take it to the grave with them. So, man, that's a rough one. That's a rough one, Sharon. Because in my case, I didn't know. I didn't know. Um, had I known, but I will say this though. I will say this. Had I known, but say this was 5 years ago, I'll be real with you. I probably wouldn't have talked to her either, because I wasn't talking about it.
You
So,
know, I think I had just felt like because of the because of the fact that my family even knew, like my dad's side of the family even knew about what had happened with me and everybody just brushed it all aside. It bothered me with the fact that why they continued to just let him even be around her, why they just everything was always just brushed to the side. It's like everything was always just overlooked. Everybody pretended like nothing ever even happened to me. And I never understood that. In Latino families, sometimes things are just overlooked. And I never understood that. It seemed like my mom was the only one that was suffering through a lot of this. My mom cries to this day. My mom cries to this day. My mom goes through so much. I understand my mom's pain to this day. If it wasn't for the Lord in my life and my salvation and how grounded I am and the foundation that I have in Christ, like it would be so hard. I'm so thankful for who I am today because I can be here to encourage her, and to be here for her and to love her and to just be here to wipe her tears, because it's hard for her. She goes through so much because she was just such a hardworking woman who would go to work every day, every day. You know, she didn't deserve that. And to this day, she lives with so much guilt.
Yeah, I couldn't even imagine. I was molested as a kid, but I could not, Sharon. I'm telling you, I cannot imagine knowing that one of my sons got molested. Oh my goodness, that I don't know how I could ever get over that. If I would ever get over that, that would be to me just so much more worse because I'm supposed to be dad. I'm supposed to be protecting you. I'm supposed to be the one to make sure these things don't happen. And knowing that that happened, goodness gracious, that would be, oh man, I don't know how I'd be able to live with that. So I get what your mother is saying.
Yeah.
Speaking of like Modesto, gracias. He says I can relate. I was molested and never told my mom. Man, that's rough. Sharon, let's uh let's move on from that. Let's
Yes.
talk about the predators. Okay, do you think they can be rehabilitated? Do you think uh, one can change themselves? We always talk about the victim, but do you think that somebody like your father or the ones that molested me, do you think they can change and they can be, they won't have that sick fetish?
I I forgave my dad.
Mhm.
Um, I think a person can be. I think a person can change. I think a person. I think anybody can change. I think anybody can. If a person can, you know, I'm gonna say this. My father didn't change.
Okay.
My father didn't. My father continued being a horrible person. You know, but the thing is that who am I to say a person cannot change? I'm nobody. I can't say a person can or a person can't. I'm nobody to say that a person can and can't. Only God can say that a person is worthy of changing or not changing. I can't judge a person for saying that they can change or not change, but I will say that my father didn't, you know. He continued to be a horrible person.
Mhm.
I don't I don't know if I have the answer to that. Only a person knows if they can change or not change. I wouldn't be able to answer that, but um I wasn't the best of a person, but I changed. You
Mhm.
know, I've seen a lot of people change their lives. I've seen drug addicts change. You know, I've seen the worst of the worst change.
Okay.
So the sin is a sin, and people can change.
Right. Let me just go ahead and read this little small article right here. Um, Brenda Carter, a clinical therapist at the Residential Sex Offender Treatment Program at DOC, said in her experience, it depends on the type of offender. There are preferential offenders who are only attracted to children, and then there are situational offenders who are also attracted to adults but take advantage of proximity to children. Treatment is about rewiring the individual to help decrease sexual arousal to children and replace it with adults. Specifically, talking about sex offenders who prey on children, Carter said it is harder to rehabilitate someone if they only have an attraction to children. So, according to this sexual therapist, they're saying that uh, as we all just kind of look at sex offenders as the same, that there's different types. There's the ones that, I guess can be married and have kids and stuff like that, but then prey on other kids. And then there's the other ones that they're not attracted to adults. They're just after nothing but children. And I guess that is the tough one, if people believe that. But that's what it is. Whether that's true or not,
And
that's
that's scary. That's a scary thought. I mean, um, that's hard. I mean, that's a hard question to even answer.
yeah. I guess it's more than just a simple yes or no answer to it. Then,
yeah, you can't even. I mean, who are we to judge anybody? But it's like you can't even. It's hard. It's like you can't even really answer those questions. It's like you got to be put in a situation like, are you going to allow somebody who has had those offenses, are you going to allow your children next to them? No, you're going to always take precaution with your loved ones around, somebody who has had those offenses, and I think regardless, we should always be precautious with our children regardless.
Yes.
Regardless.
Yeah, definitely. Balon SGV says nobody can change if the person, or nobody can change a person if they don't want to. Yeah, very true. When it comes to this, I'm with you, Sharon. It's like, hey, once somebody has this on their rap sheet that they did this, to me personally, I don't think you should ever be around kids alone ever again.
Ever.
Even if even if you did this when you were a teenager, I don't care if you're 50, 60 years old. Still, I just think it's a different wiring to do this type of crime than it is other types of crimes. I think this is more of a bad wiring somewhere in the head. I'm not making any excuses here whatsoever. I think this is truly the devil's work, and it destroys people a lot for the rest of their lives. And some, it takes them to the grave very early. It just makes them destroy themselves.
I think we're living in a day and age, honestly. We're living in a day and age where we need to be very, very, very precautious regardless. I think mothers, I'm speaking to mothers because we have to be even more precautious, because I think there's a lot of single moms out there and single fathers, but I'm speaking to mothers because men are out there prying and prowling, and what they're doing is they're deliberately looking for single mothers with children, and you need to be very, very careful, because it is a pretty much because of human trafficking, especially. It is now a thing where men are actually out there looking for single mothers with children, and they're prowling on single mothers with children. And it is actually a career out there where men are actually looking for single mothers with children so that they can prey on these young people, on these young kids. And because, there's a lot of single mothers who are so concerned about looking young and being, so busy on social media and everything. They're so concerned about all of that, and they're so busy on all of that, that they forget, that they think, well, I found, this new love and everything like that, that they forget about, their concerns about their children. And while their children become the victims of human trafficking, or a lot of this, this sexual offender that they've brought into their home, and they need to be very, very careful about this stuff, because it is something that's out there. So we have to be very, very careful about who we let into our homes. Be
Yeah.
very, very careful.
Yeah, definitely. And speaking on that, on the we're talking about guys doing this. There's a nice little slice of the percentage that is done by women. Um,
Yeah, there is too.
yeah, the last person that did it to me was actually a female, an older female. I was 9 years old, and I don't think people take that as serious, but you should. For anybody watching, you should. It shouldn't be taken lightly, okay? Because that just messed up your son's mind,
Yeah,
um, and your son can completely just go, haywire. Um, he's probably not gonna respect himself uh, anymore, sexually, whatever it may be. He can it can mess with him for him to go and start doing things like this. So just because it happens female to young male, it's not, I know we every time we talk about child molestations usually focus on the males, and yeah, that's the bigger portion of it, definitely. But let's not shy away from everybody saying like, wow, you know what, it was a 20-year-old girl and she linked up with a 10-year-old boy. Like, no, there's something wrong there.
yeah,
And
there
that
is.
10-year old boy, now he's not going to be the same. Now his mind is all jacked up too, and we
Yeah,
see it.
I
And
agree.
we hear the stories, what happens with teachers at schools, and things of that nature. And we just kind of say like, oh, you know what, that's gross, and then we just leave it alone. Like, well, you know what, it's probably not that big of a deal. But had it been a male teacher doing it to a young female, it's like, oh man, we want justice. We need to seek justice. But the other way around is just kind of like, she's gross, and hey, what have you. But I'll tell you this: I wouldn't want my son. My sons are a little bit older now, but when they were kids, I definitely would have a problem if an older woman were to go and start touching them. How say you, Sharon?
Yeah, and there's also now you have a lot of women molesting other young girls too.
Mm.
So it's a lot of that as well. It's 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 in every different. It's the same thing, it's women to young girls, men to young boys, and older women to young boys, and men to young girls, and it's in every single form. We just have to make sure that we're making people aware that it comes in every shape and form, every shape and form.
Yeah. Mary Brown, yes, yes, absolutely. That's why it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate that we're supposed to have places where we're supposed to feel safe, and even places of worship, and it does take in places like that as well. So we just need to be vigilant and keep our eyes open, and just to let everybody know. How much this happens. Permit me, Sharon. Let me just read some of this stuff. Now, for everybody watching this live, all these stories are just of today, just today. Okay, maybe you don't see it on the news, but just today, all these stories right here.
Are
Okay,
those statistics?
no, they're not statistics. They're actually
Oh, okay.
they're actually stories. I'm reading headlines of
Oh, okay.
child molestation. All of these today are just of today. Okay.
Okay.
Bellevue cheer coach arrested, accused of child molestation. That's from Como News. Cohen 6 News. Child sex abuse suspect used kit to massage underage girls. Loretto Morning Times reports mother grandmother did not believe child outcry for sexual abuse. The New York Post reports, this is all today. All these stories are today. New York Post reports Retired cop shot by wife over child sexual abuse allegations at her daycare center. Los Angeles Times. Academy member gets 8-year sentence for child molestation. Ben Bulletin. Dutchess County man sentenced to 23 years in prison wins appeal in sex abuse case. KHQA. Convicted Kirksville child molester wanted for murder still on the loose. WQOW.com reports carnival worker accused for child sexual assault. We're almost done. WSB-TV, 69-year-old Georgia man arrested on 14 accounts of child molestation, sexual exploitation. And finally, the Washington Post, man shot over molestation allegations, charged with sex abuse. That, all those are from today. So, and these are all different stories taking places in different places around the country. So just because we don't see all this on your nightly news, it doesn't mean it's not happening. Okay.
You know
all those stories were from today.
You know what it's going to come down to? What it's going to come down to, because, you know, in order to help prevent it, is we need to be open with our teenagers. We need to be open with our young people. We need to be open with our children. We need to make sure that we communicate with our children. It is so, so important. You know, right now I'm doing the youth at the church. I have always been, because of what happened to me, I've always been open with my kids. I've always been very straightforward with my kids. I don't hold nothing back from my kids. I'm very straight with them, and I tell them what's out there. I don't sugarcoat anything for them. I tell them what's real and what's out there. Because if you don't tell them what it's like out there, you know, they're going to face some things, you know, and you know, it's even with you know, the youth. I tell them, you know what, you're going to be faced with some really harsh stuff out there, and they got to know that, you know, there's some really ugly people out there. There's some really ugly people out there, and we gotta be real with our youth. We gotta tell them, because if we don't prepare them, then this world will. Mm-hmm. This world is going to prepare them.
You know, when I was in elementary, we did have, I don't know, it was like in the 5th or 6th grade. I still remember the teacher's name, Miss Voitish. Gosh, I hated her. Man, I hated her. But I I wasn't a good student, so I wasn't a good student, but she wasn't a happy person either. But that's besides the point. What I'm trying to say is, in elementary school, I forgot if it was 5th or 6th grade. I remember having sex ed, right, in elementary school. It's before junior high. It's not like you have different classes. No, it's all in the same class, right? And I remember one of the students asking the teacher, asking, "Hey, why are you gonna teach this? You know, like, why do it here?" And I remember she said, because some parents are uncomfortable talking about this to their kids. And everyone just kind of like, okay, you know, what have you. Today, I look at that and I'm like, you know what? If you're uncomfortable talking to your kids about sex, you really got to take a long look in the mirror and think about your parenting skills. You're more comfortable with somebody else. Granted, it being a teacher, okay. But you're more comfortable with somebody else talking to your kids, teaching your kids about sex than you. Man, take a
Yeah,
nice good look in the mirror. That's
yeah. And I agree with you, but it's not even like, it's not even so much the sex part. I think parents should have to do that, but it's the approaching the certain things, because there's a lot of things that can be taught in a church. There's a lot of things that certain things can be, about how a person approaches you, awareness, certain things that could be taught, in different environments. But when it comes to those things, I definitely agree with you. Those things should be taught in the home.
yeah.
They should definitely be taught in the home. But when it comes to awareness, because here's the problem is that so many kids are now so stuck on social media and gaming and all of this that they are no longer, that you can they don't know how to be sociable anymore.
Well, some of these predators are on those gamings. They are on social media.
Yes,
They play video games with them and all, have
but
conversations with them.
exactly, and but they don't even know how to be sociable anymore. So parents don't even know how to talk to their own kids. And that's why they're so stuck on all of these gaming systems. They're so stuck on all of this. So parents don't even communicate with their kids. And they don't even communicate even in these youth meetings or anything. So this is why it's so important to learn to have communication with them, to be able to, like, this is why when we're in at church and stuff, I tell them, put stuff away. I want to have a communication with you guys so that you guys will know what it's like, so that when you guys are, approached or in any way, whether it be on social media or something, you guys know how to react to something.
Mhm.
You guys have to know and be aware what somebody's trying to do when somebody's trying to get your attention, that you guys know that there's predators out there. You guys have to know, you guys have to have discernment. You guys have to know what's right and what's wrong when there's somebody that doesn't look right.
Mhm.
You guys have to know how to be able to discern that. It's so,
Yeah.
so important, because if parents aren't telling them, then somebody needs to tell them.
Motivation said actors, musicians, producers involved in child sex trafficking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they are.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, look what R. Kelly just went down for. There was a lot of weird stuff going on with that guy, and yeah, I mean, it's. I don't want to
All
say it's all over the place, but it can be anywhere. I'll say it like that. I don't want to say it's everywhere because then it's gonna freak people out. It's not.
Did
I don't
we
want to
just
say
say
it's
modeling agencies?
no, I said modeling.
Do you know?
Pastor David in the back.
Do
Everybody.
you know my mom had my little sister and my little sister and my older sister involved in a modeling agency when they were young.
Mm-hmm.
And back then, it wasn't known as human trafficking. The word human trafficking wasn't used very much, but she had them involved in modeling. I was a mom at 14 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I was a mom at a very, very young age, and I was very tomboyish. The way I used to dress, but I didn't like the pretty dresses, and I didn't like any of that. So, but because I had a baby at a young age, he told my mom, I'll get your daughter and I'll offer her a job at my paralegal office. I took it. I was a receptionist at a very, very young age, working as a receptionist, and my sisters would model. I was the vulnerable one. He would buy me a dress, bring a dress, and be like, you would look really, really pretty in this dress. And you know what? I took the dress. It was a gift. And slowly but surely, he'd be buying me gifts. And then he'd be like, tell my mom that he was going to take me to a dinner because I had to work. And slowly but surely, I was getting groomed. And then I would be taken to meet some of the associates. And I was being groomed, and I was being human trafficked slowly. And you know what else came with all of that.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
slowly became human trafficked, and I was taken from one associate to another to another. And that was stuff that was so hard for me to share at the beginning with my husband, that I was from one business partner to another business partner at that age. I was human trafficked at a very young age from a modeling agency. And I was the vulnerable one that was taken from one to another to another. And I was groomed. And and I didn't know how to tell anybody.
Right.
I didn't even know that human trafficking happened like that.
Right. That it was a thing.
I didn't even know. But now, as an adult, realizing, as all this time, I realize now what was happening.
Wow. Wow. Yeah.
It
Man.
happens.
Mm-hmm.
It happens, and that's how it happens.
Still,
And he's still out there. He's still out there somewhere to this day. Do you know that I looked for him years after we tried to look for him to try to press charges?
Mm-hmm.
There is so much. There is so much. A dare officer abused me, and I never spoke about it.
Right.
To this day. The people that I thought that I were supposed to protect me, it's like a lot of the times, we stay quiet. And I'm telling you, it's like a lot of the times when women go through something, they stay quiet for so long because they think that they have no voice, because it's taken from them, because they feel ashamed, and they feel unworthy and ashamed and guilt. They live in condemnation for so long because they feel like nobody's going to believe them.
I'm going to say, guys, stay quiet just because it's so embarrassing
Yeah.
to say that they were molested by another male. And I have said it before. I would share the fact that I was molested by a female. That I had always shared, right? But I shared it in a way where it's like, yeah, you know what? I got down when I was 9 years old, kind of like a brag, right? But I never, ever once shared that I was molested in 2 other occasions with males. That I never spoke about till I first came out, just like 2 years ago, and started talking about it. And it's this shameful thing. It's like, no, what guy wants to say that, hey man, he was, diddled by another guy? That's
not easy.
No,
it's not easy.
No. So John, Connor, I appreciate it, brother. But man, Sharon, it's always powerful talking.
If we don't speak about this,
Mm-hmm.
then others will not speak about it.
Right.
And we need to speak about it, because if we don't speak about it, here's the thing. If I hadn't have spoken about these things growing up, then other young girls that I was around wouldn't have ever come out and spoken about it to their families. Mm. I'm thankful that I've been able to share these things with young girls growing up, because I became an advocate for young moms. I became an advocate for a lot of young women because of this. And you know what? Because of this, a lot of young girls came out and spoke up finally. They spoke up of their abusers. They spoke up. Mm-hmm. They spoke up about their rapes. They spoke up about a lot of these things. And it's important. This is why we need to speak up, because people need to heal. They need to heal, and children need to come forward.
Yeah, and knowing, I mean, I know people know that it's happened to others, but I don't think they know that, hey, how many people it's happened to, because
Yeah.
nobody talks about it. So that's why I'm, excuse me, that's why I'm glad I came out. I spoke about
I'm glad
my
you did too.
experience. I'm glad you've done the same thing, Sharon, and I'm glad that so many others are stepping forward and speaking about it, telling their stories, not just on here, but just in general. You know,
You need
let's.
to write your book, is what you need to do.
Oh goodness gracious, Pastor, can
Yeah.
you help me on that one?
Yeah, he's right here, and when you're ready, he's ready to write your book. I think you need to write your book.
Oh
I
goodness.
think it's important that these stories do need to be told. Very,
Mm.
very important. Yeah, he called you Super Cholo.
You know, Sharon, it's always powerful speaking with you. Vince, what's going on, my man Vince? He's also one that came on here and shared his story as well.
Amen. Praise God.
Sharon, it's always powerful speaking with you.
Likewise.
I always appreciate it, sister. We're gonna call it right there, but I will give you, Sharon Rocha, the platform, the last words, anything you want to say. Uh, where can they find you, and any last words?
Well, I think a lot of people know where to find us. Guys, we are with House Arrest Church here in Modesto, California. You guys probably know me with Pastor David Rocha. Guys, we give God all the glory. Jesus is is everything. It's only through him, through Christ, that we can actually be here just able to tell our stories. He is our strength. He is everything. And through him, everything's possible, guys. You know, he's the reason why we can, be able to be here and share just anything. And I will say this, that, whether you're a victim, victimizer, whatever it be, you know, surrender it all to him. Just surrender everything to him, because he is the forgiver. He is the sustainer. He is, our salvation. He is everything. And I will tell you that he is the one that can fulfill all that void. He is the father to the fatherless. He's everything, guys. Everything. So give him the glory, give him everything. Give him your life, He's the one that giveth and taketh. So just give him all the honor and the praise for everything. So, guys, with that, we will say good night. Take care. God bless you.
As always, familia, live your life like you're on the road. Be aware of your surroundings and always keep a safe distance. Blood makes you related, but loyalty makes you family. Until next time, this is Ed the Thecholotrucker for Sharon Rocha. Over and out.